Thank you for buying the Pacific Research Specimen Clamping System. The following video will show you general setup, component pieces, and specific setup for arthroscopy of the shoulder, ankle, wrist, elbow, and knee. This is the tray, outer tower sleeve, inner tower, main clamping jaws. This is the shoulder jaw. This is a threaded fixation rod for ankle and wrist. C-clamps for specimen tray securing. Drainage bucket, drainage tube. The first step is to secure the tray to the table. Secure it on the front of the table and underneath and over the tray. The second step will be to secure the drainage tube to the L fitting at the back of the tray, with the other end of the tube going to the drainage bucket. Second will be the outer sleeve. This will go over the post that is inside the tray. Next will be the inner tower. At this time, you tighten down the two knobs of the outer sleeve. Next will be the general clamp assembly, which will slide down inside the upper tower. The setup for knee arthroscopy is the same as previously described in general setup. Please note, however, that you may raise the tower and the clamp two different ways for height adjustment, one being the clamp itself and the second being the inner tower. Two items that you will need to do prior to mounting the specimen into the tray system will be: one, resecting the soft tissues away from the femoral shaft, and two, using a Co-band type self-adherent wrap around the mid-shaft tibia. To mount the specimen, install the femoral shaft into the jaws and tighten. You are now ready for your operative procedures. At this point, the specimen can go into full extension, flexion, and varus and valgus. To facilitate the varus and valgus manipulation, you may elect to install a lag bolt into the tibial shaft. Precautions that you need to be aware of are that the femoral shaft does need to be installed fully into the jaws of the clamp, and also that over-tightening may cause the femoral shaft to crack. To set up the tray assembly for shoulder procedures, either open arthroscopy, the first step will be to take the main jaw assembly and turn it 90 degrees to the main tower and tighten. Next will be to install the scapula clamp into the main jaw assembly and tighten. To prepare the specimen, the first thing you will need to do is you will need to resect some of the fatty tissues away from the scapula blade. Next, you will need to drill a 1/4 inch hole or smaller into the humeral shaft and install a non-stretch cord. This will facilitate indistraction. Then it is advised that you use a Co-band type self-adherent wrap and wrap the stump as to help retain fluid in the joint space. The next step will be to take the scapula blade, assuming the position that you want to go posterior approach, and insert the scapula blade into the clamping device. At this point, you may either start your procedures or you may elect to provide distraction for the specimen by way of the non-stretching cord and a tower-type device such as this to provide distraction of the joint. You may also change the angle and the positioning of the joint by way of the clamps and the jaws. You may loosen the side clamp and adjust the specimen from front to back. To set up for ankle arthroscopy, the tray assembly will be as outlined previously in general setup. However, you will want to add the threaded rod assembly. To install, put the non-threaded portion of the bar fully into the main jaws and tighten. Specimen preparation. At this time, you will need to drill a hole and install through the calcaneus a 1/4 inch or larger Steinman pin or K-wire. It is important to install this so it is parallel to the bottom of the foot. Next, you will need to drill a hole and install a non-stretch cord through the tibia. And once again, it is recommended that a Coban type self-adherent wrap be used on the shaft of the tibia. To install, once your K-wire or Steinman pin is in place, insert into the hooks at the base of the tray. Take your cord ends, install through the 2 holes that are provided in the flat bar assembly, and tie. To do major height adjustments, you can adjust the main tower by loosening the side clamp and raising. To do minor adjustments to the distension of the joint, the small threaded rod may be adjusted either up or down in this fashion. Should you elect to do a posterior approach, you may reorient the specimen as follows. Remove the specimen, install, and tighten to add distraction. As a precaution, it is recommended that a blunt end protector be used on your K-wire or Steinman pin to cover the sharp exposed end. Setup for wrist arthroscopy is basically the same as previously outlined. The one major difference being the tower adjustment will generally need to be adjusted higher than for any other procedure. You will need to install the threaded clamping device by installing a non-threaded bar into the clamping device and securing. Specimen preparation will involve installing 2 finger traps and securing those finger traps by way of a spinal needle or equivalent and using a protective end guard on the spinal needle. In addition to which, a K-wire or Steinman pin of 1/4 inch diameter or larger will need to be installed in the tissues between the ulna and radius or within the elbow joint space. To install the specimen into the clamping device, you will first want to feed the hook ends of the finger traps up through the base plate and secure on the end of the base plate in the tabs provided. Next, you will want to install the Steinman pin through the hooks provided in the bottom of the tray. To provide distraction for the wrist, you can do major vertical adjustments by way of the overall tower assembly. Fine-tuning adjustments may be made via the threaded rod and the turning knot located on top of the threaded rod. Setup for elbow arthroscopy is the same as the general setup previously outlined. Specimen preparation is as follows. You will need to resect the tissues away from the humeral shaft prior to clamping into the shaft mechanism. You will also need to install a 1/4 inch or larger K-wire or Steinman pin through the soft tissues between the ulna and radius. To install the specimen into the clamp, firmly seat the humeral shaft into the clamping mechanism and tighten. At this point, a piece of non-stretch cord will be utilized to go around the hooks, around the pins, and tie. At this point, distraction may be applied by raising the tower assembly and tightening. As a precaution, over-tightening of the main clamp assembly may crush the humeral shaft. And it is also advised that a tip protector be installed on the end of the K-wire or Steinman pin to avoid accidental puncture. Several ways to clean up may be utilized. By using each piece, you may use a germicide or Sidex type solution to clean the individual components, or you may actually sterilize these in an automated system. It is advised, however, that you let all the pieces dry thoroughly and do not store wet. Suction system canister, polycarbonate top, tubing setup, suction pump. To set the system up, take the polycarbonate top, install over the top of canister, making sure that all edges are even. Secure the top clamp as indicated by the red handle. Install the tube set into the top of the polycarbonate canister. The long end of the tube will have a Roberts clamp. This will be connected to your shaver. The short end of the tube will need to be connected to the port that indicates in. There is no on and off switch with the pump system itself. Once it is plugged in, it will be on. When operating, allow 2 to 3 minutes for system to build up vacuum pressure. Once the clamp is open, your pressure will start to diminish.